All right, so if we're ready, let's do it.
Yeah, what's good? You are listening to Daniel and Gian talk shit. I am Gian. With me, as always, is Daniel. And today we have a very special guest. You've seen him before. Aaron Lee Dowell, a.k.a. Black Gian. What's up?
Hello, real Gian, I guess. I don't know.
The idea for this all started with a tweet that came out, an article about Ryan Coogler. You guys may know him as the director of this film that completely bombed at the box office called Black Panther. He also directed Creed, which was part of the Rocky universe. So Stallone had something to do with it. And in an interview, I don't know if it was at a film festival or what, but Ryan Coogler basically throws Stallone under the bus, and he doesn't outright says it, but he kind of like insinuates that there's a bit of racism coming from Stallone, because Stallone asked him several times are you up for this? You know, this is going to be a lot of work. I don't even know if he took it as a racist comment, but the way he threw it out there made me feel like he was insinuating something like it. And I mean, I guess you got to really like unfold it, like the stereotype that black people are lazy is the only thing I can connect it to. Because he kept on like saying, "Hey, you guys, you sure you're up for this? You know, this is gonna be a lot of work. It's gonna be a lot of work." And then coincidentally, he also did not get brought back to direct the second one. We don't know the details behind it, but Stallone in an award ceremony didn't even mention his name at all in reference to Creed. So,
well, he's not directing this Creed 2?
Nope, he is not directing Creed 2.
Whoa.
Another black USC filmmaker, though.
Hey, he's half Puerto Rican.
Oh, okay.
Whoa.
From Cleveland, Stephen Capel Jr.
That's fascinating. This is news to me. I wonder why.
I think it's because he was doing Black Panther. I think that's why. I think it's as simple as that.
Yeah, what does that have to do with were the timelines the same or something? Was it a scheduling conflict?
I mean, I would assume the amount of dedication you would need to put towards Black Panther. That's my thing. I mean, I think they're already filming Creed 2, or they were already filming it. I still don't see the fucking problem.
I think
I don't get it.
I think there's a clash in personalities. Obviously, the Stallone and him, they just don't gel. They don't click. You know, we don't know the circumstances behind it. Like, did Stallone even pick him to direct Creed, or was it the studio? You know,
sure,
because he's coming off of this big, the Fruitvale Station, Sundance buzz, and they can underpay him too because he's a young director.
I think Coogler is the one who championed the idea. It was his idea. I'm like 99% sure if that like it was his thing. He pitched it. Rocky was done after Rocky 6 or whatever, the Balboa.
5.
And then I'm like 99% sure he pitched it, and that was the idea, and that's how it came about. I'm almost positive that's what it was.
Fascinating. I just just usually people often in sequels they don't bring back the directors. Or it's not unprecedented not to do it, but Creed did so well. And so many people liked it. I figured you would at least try harder to bring it back. I don't know how hard they tried. You're right, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, you brought this up because of the racial implications, and I mean that's what you wanted to talk about. You were expecting a fight here. I just don't understand why it's even an issue at all.
I think
I've said that a million times.
Popped your nut, busted your nut on Twitter already.
I'm saying the same thing I said on Twitter though. I don't know what the fucking big deal is.
Well, they definitely have some that is a weird comment to make to people that were hired to make this move. My question: why even suggest it? Why even have that? Maybe they want someone the director wouldn't work hard. I don't care who the person is. Why would that cross your mind?
Well, he's an old man. I don't see why that's. I don't see. It's for me. If it was an older dude telling a younger kid, because he's young, it's not like he's 50. You know. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't say it to a white guy, but you don't know that he doesn't say it. He wouldn't say it to a white guy. I mean,
true.
What's Sylvester Stallone's track record working with young directors? Period. That's my first thing.
It's like that woman at the lake in Oakland, right? Like, we don't know if she might have done that for a white person too. She happened to walk by. We don't know. But we live in America with the racial context that we all understand. Apparently, Stallone must understand it. If you said he asked Trump to pardon Jack Johnson, so he must have some understanding of this, unless at times he just has brain farts. You know,
he's also a really big boxing fan as well, so I think that has a lot to do. And Jack Johnson's like so important to the history of boxing that.
Well, yeah, even that still goes back to something like Creed, like because Coogler, I don't know what his boxing background is or Jordan's, but he makes a really good film or a film that people really like. Why not bring him back?
If you watch the action sequences in that film, Michael B. Jordan doesn't have a lot of boxing background.
All my boxing friends said that was the worst part.
Come on, we've seen Major League. How many of those? Do you really think Charlie Sheen is a Major League pitcher?
No,
I think Charlie Sheen was actually he got drafted.
Oh, sure. I wouldn't be surprised if he actually played baseball. You know, but
I just made that up. I don't
know. all I know is that like something like Eastbound and Down. Like the first time I saw
when he pitches, it's so
the
terrible.
first time I saw like 2 minutes of him like throwing the ball, playing catch in that show, and I said he never played baseball a day in his life. Didn't mean the show was bad.
He never even threw a ball in his life.
Yeah, that's what my roommate told me. He was like, yeah, the first time he hated baseball. You know, he learned for this role, and you can tell this. Like I have a friend who. He watched some like terrible sprinters movie on Netflix years ago, and he ran track from middle school on, you know, and he's like, none of them ran. You can tell, but it doesn't make the movie, you know, it doesn't ruin the movie.
Well, my thing
right, but that was just me throwing some shit on the side. But
if the article was or the interview was saying, well, he was protesting my involvement from the beginning, blah blah blah. If that's what came out, then I'd be like, okay, maybe there is a problem here. But an offhand comment, unverified.
After he doesn't get brought back to direct the second one,
but you don't know why that's. But,
like,
you don't know why that's the case.
No,
if he doesn't like black people, why would you go with another black director?
See, once again, so this is the same leap that was made on Twitter. It isn't a matter of saying he doesn't like black people. Like you can
maybe he doesn't like Ryan Coogler.
Again, the way that quote. I wish we had that tweet in front of the way that
Carlos,
quote.
Bring the tweet up.
And that tweet, it seemed as if
Ryan
it was
Coogler,
not just Coogler, it was also Michael B. Jordan. He was like implying Coogler makes a strong implication that it was about him and Michael B. Jordan, who Michael B. Jordan has at that point he had a 10-year career. You know, he wasn't some nobody.
Well, if you asked Gian that question, he would.
No, Michael B. Jordan, and he's on the record as saying after he did The Wire.
Sure.
He was sleeping on people's couches because he hadn't done
racism,
shit.
like just type in racism.
Yeah, but if you look at his IMDb, he was playing his little bit parts. Like he wasn't sure. Yeah, I heard about that, about how he was crying to his mother about he will not get a role like that again. And again, that's still steeped in this American context of people of color in television and cinema. You know, so it's I just find it funny. Yes, no one's saying Stallone is a racist or not. When I say this, like, I'm not saying that.
I mean,
all I'm saying,
but the only way for that to be a valid criticism is that he is.
No, it doesn't, because there are levels. You don't have to be a Klansman to be considered a racist.
Yes, you do. God damn it.
Well, according to certain people on the fucking internet, if you're like, if you voted for Trump, you're a Nazi.
Shit. Well,
I have friends who are not Nazis and they fucking just voted because. That's their right.
See, and this is the reason why I brought it up too. I think that's the whole point of why we're meeting today, is just to talk about how shit is just getting like, just unraveling and turning into this big like, this side that side kind of thing, you know. And you brought up the lady in Oakland who called the cops. You know, everybody's shitting on this lady, as you know, which is fine.
Sure, yeah.
She's the fucking meme of the week.
Meme of the month.
Yeah, she might be the meme of 2018 already.
I know.
You know,
there's that picture with Obama here, Michelle and Obama, and then she's in the background.
So it was a good Photoshop job.
But I haven't heard one person discuss. I watched the fucking interview with the lady. She breaks down. She's crying with the cop. Mm-hmm. This lady ain't all the way there. She ain't right. They're breaking the law. They're breaking the law. They're not supposed to be barbecuing with charcoal at this park.
But again, so this is where we talk about the continuum of like these beliefs, these beliefs that people have about people of color or women. It doesn't always manifest themselves in lynchings. It kind of becomes in smaller ways. And those smaller ways lead to a lynching in some cases. But there's smaller ways to discriminate and have racial resentment. And this is true. Your friend may not be a Nazi, but study after study suggests that Trump voters had racial resentment.
I think that, yeah, you can definitely point a lot of fingers at a lot of people where you can attribute that to, obviously. but I don't think that's everybody. I don't think that's everybody.
Sure.
I genuinely do not think that's everybody. And so to say it is everybody creates backlash. It's going to create those same racists are going to come together, and then you have fucking fighting.
Well, it's the same argument that what Barry Weiss made in New York Times, where it's like, you guys call these people racist and they become more racist. It's like, no, that's not. No, you're racist. You're racist. This guy who shot.
But not everyone who voted for Trump is a racist.
Yes, and again, I'm not even. But there's a difference between being a racist and harboring racial resentment. Black people can harbor racial resentment against other black people too. This isn't
I feel like we all do, and I feel like it's bullshit if you say you don't.
Well,
I genuinely feel,
but there's
it might be beneath the surface.
Like, I hate people from Guam. Like, something about those Chamorros, man, that rubbed me the wrong way.
See, there you go. Or even like when I was in Korea, like the resentment that so many Koreans seem to have for Japanese, it's like you hear it, when people say things.
I mean, they kind of have a fucking point.
Yeah. But that's what makes it so. That's what makes it so dangerous. It's not so much that everybody has these things. It's just how unchecked they are, and then how it leads to police brutality.
Are you not allowed to vote for Trump?
No, you can vote for him if you want to vote for him. But I also like this guy is openly voting for a racist who was supported by David Duke and Klansmen, who started his campaign calling Mexicans rapists and murderers, who said immigrants are animals.
To clarify, he was just talking about Carlos. But
see, that's my point, But then someone says, well, these things are okay, and it's like, no, because maybe he can help me financially, but then what does that do for the community?
But does that make you a fucking Nazi?
No, I'm not calling you a friend of Nazi.
But that's straying away. That's my point, though.
I mean,
that's the rhetoric right now.
See, this is I kind of look at it, I kind of look at it this way: when you know what the fallout was going to be by electing Trump as president. Like, you if you didn't, then you're fucking naive. And we're seeing it now that even though you might not be a racist, you voted for him, and now all these people who fucking were scared and hiding now feel empowered, and they're coming out. And they're letting you know how they feel now.
Dude, when he got elected, I was like, it was the worst feeling in the world. It was like a strong gut feeling where I'm like, fuck, this just happened. Like, it got real. I felt all sad. And then like 2 days later, I was like, whatever. At the end of the day, I don't care what anyone fucking says. Trump being president doesn't change shit from people's day-to-day, person-to-person life.
You live in Los Angeles as an American citizen.
Absolutely.
Who has certain privileges that other people
do not
I'm
brown.
Have. Yeah, but
in a city full of brown people now.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Now, so it's easy, and you don't have nice ice knocking down your door. You don't have children who
Not
are afraid.
Anyways, piss me off.
But it's like you hear these stories of teachers having like their school kids are afraid of them coming home and their parents not being there. Like, that's real life trauma, and these are things that affect people's life. Like, so. To say that Trump hasn't caused any damage, he's increased the droning attacks that Obama's done.
Trump hasn't deported more people than Obama, not yet. But Obama, it's not like.
Well, Obama had 8 years.
Yeah, but his numbers haven't reached each other yet.
Carlos,
that's why people call him the deporter in chief. He
Carlos
deported
put
more
ICE's
people.
hotline number up.
I will not. It's true. Like Obama has.
Well, let's make sure we acknowledge that then. That it's a continuation. But not you, but people in general.
Even then, this conversation is not about Obama. This conversation is about Trump. So I don't understand.
But you brought up the deportation and ICE. Sure, maybe he's not busting down people's houses now, but it's not like he wasn't deporting people.
Let's get back to Trump in a second. Since you brought up Obama.
Well, we should get to this tweet thing because I brought Carlos up. Scroll down.
I mean, he's already backpedaling.
Where it says right down, it says one thing he was concerned that me and Star was
scroll down a little bit at the very right there.
According to LA Times.
Do you know how much work this is going to require? For us, it was like never letting him see us not working. And then there was an update since the tweet. Go to the top, please. It says, the concern was simply because we were both young. It was my second feature film, and Michael had never played a boxer before. That was the clarification.
Yeah, sometimes you have to clarify, even in the face of blowback.
Well, do you think he said this
Why should he have to? Like, seriously, why are we at a place right now where you have to clarify your shit? I can tell you, number one, I saw Fruitvale Station, and I'm one of the few that didn't think it was that great. I was like, I was all right, whatever. I thought it was just a fucking, it reminded me of an old French fucking film, and I hate those shits. You know, Michael B. Jordan's performance was fucking awful, especially as someone that grew up in the fucking Bay Area. Like, this dude is not from the Bay, no matter how hard he tries. You know, I was like, whatever. Then when he got the Creed thing, I was like, oh shit, good for him. I saw Creed. I didn't think Creed was great either. I thought it was an all right movie. You know,
the other was all right too. Sure.
I like both of them.
And then we all three of us agree. We saw Black Panther, and none of us were blown away by it either. You know, it was like it was a superhero film. It had a lot of flaws in it. You know, I mean, we could have this. I got people out there telling me it's the best one in all the MCU. It's the greatest superhero film ever made. And I'm like,
oof.
It's probably the only one they saw. That's why.
And I mean, I've talked about, I admire that like the community got together to support the film so much that it's like it's trending because of Deadpool 2. Let's clarify that. Because of Deadpool 2, Black Panther might outgross Avengers Infinity War domestically. And if you understand what I mean by that?
Yeah, because
that Black Panther had 5 straight weeks with no competition. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then the second, it got beat by fucking Pacific Rim 2. Just to throw that out there.
What got beat? Black Panther?
Black Panther's streak ended with Pacific Rim 2.
I like Pacific Rim 2, so.
I never saw it. I thought
I'm not saying it's a bad film or not.
No, I get what you're saying. I know. You know? I'm just, well, for me, it's like, well, why? Yes, I agree with you. Why do you need to clarify?
Yeah.
And then I question why he is clarifying. Is it because his agent said, hey, man, you better.
It's Hollywood.
Yeah. Or was it a legitimate, hey, this is what it was. You mistook me here. Because it could be either way. And now we're back in the same fucking situation. Because even, let's assume it's genuine. You're still going to have people saying, well, Stallone shouldn't have said that shit in the first place.
I still feel that way.
See, so it doesn't solve anything. Like that, so there is no point to clarify.
And I mean, I don't know. I'm like, either way, I could see both sides. But I do kind of see like you don't. You made a Sundance film that fucking only fart sniffers watched.
A lot of people watched it. It made money for an independent movie. It did. Whether or not, dude, it doesn't need to gross $1 billion for it to be a fucking success.
I'm saying the only people that went to watch that movie are people that are us.
My mom went and watched it.
Because you made her go and watch it, you fuck.
Well, she went and watched it.
Your mom wouldn't have watched that of her own volition.
It's funny. I saw Fruitvale like the day before the Trayvon Martin verdict came out, you know, like the night before. You know, so it's like it came out at a really interesting time as well.
I mean, if it would have came out today, this movie would
But 16 million is a pretty big grossing for an independent film of that stature, especially like a Sundance.
I didn't realize it was only 16 million. Maybe I'll take my comment back.
No, 16. How much? Look up how much Hurt Locker made. I don't think it made more than 18.
It definitely did. I can almost guarantee you it did. But yeah, but 16 million, I'll take that comment back. That's not that much money. That's
17.
Domestic. Oh no, I want to know the total.
Well, that's the domestic one for Fruitvale was still 16.
You got to click on the links. You can't just. You got to. Okay, so worldwide 50 million, and then what is Fruitvale? Out of curiosity. Well, but Hurt Locker was. I mean,
he did a 1 million internationally.
I mean,
okay,
but
and there's a reason before that too. It's the reason for that is that the rest of the world is fucking racist, and they're not hiding behind it. Like, for example, in China, Black Panther bombed, and the biggest complaint was too many black people on screen.
Yeah, it was
multiple tweets talking about how many.
But it didn't bomb. Like when I was in Korea, one of the most popular films was Moonlight. I saw Moonlight 3 times because
Koreans aren't Chinese people.
Yeah, but the point is like China's one market.
Talking about racism.
I know, double standard.
No, the idea is that China's only one international market, where Korea is a different international market. And they don't necessarily have those same beliefs. Like Black Panther, I think they're pretty well in Korea.
Well, you got a whole industry of Koreans trying to be black people. So, I mean, I guess, you know.
Do they?
The music shit? Have you not seen these guys?
I guess they're trying to be black people. I don't think that. You know, hip-hop is very popular there, though. You know, Korean rapper. You want just one Korean rapper? G-Dragon, Zico.
See, you know them already.
It's probably the biggest one. Well, G-Dragon's pretty big too. He's part of Big Bang.
There's that one guy that like unabashedly drops N-bombs in his songs.
Should probably re-roll that camera.
Ooh, who's this? I'm gonna say
he's got a grill too. Like he
Doki. I follow him on Instagram. I follow a few of them. What's his name? Keith Ape is pretty popular.
Keith Ape, that's who's it.
Oh, really? He does? Oh. Or is he speaking Korean? You know, and it sounds that way.
No. Well, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know.
Do they have similar words? Or is that a?
Is that another?
Yeah, possibly. I don't. You know. I never walked down the street like what? Yeah. I think like the one time I did see a Confederate flag in Korea was because of Kanye. Someone who had his Jesus jacket on. So you know what it is. You know.
Some people just don't know. They just don't.
Yeah, I know. It was a
Like,
student at my university.
That looks like America. Let's put that on. That's the
Yeah,
American flag,
I don't blame
isn't
them. I blame Kanye for doing that shit. He's a fucking idiot.
Spread it out there. Spread it out.
Kanye's got his own issues, you know.
Yeah, apparently he just bought that photo for Pusha T's album. Did you remember this? The photo of like Whitney Houston's like drug-filled hotel when she died, and that's like he paid $80,000 for some reason, something like that. I saw.
Why would you pay for that?
And why? Yeah, see, why would you put this on the album cover? That's just disgusting.
What's disgusting about it? I'm asking not because I don't know, but I want to know what your opinion is.
I mean, it looks pretty nasty.
Yeah, well, visually, but it is disgusting too because you do have somebody who died of a drug overdose who's also very well respected, not just like in the music community, but especially in the black community. Like Whitney Houston symbolizes a lot for a lot of people. And this is also coming from a guy.
I feel like Bobby Brown has not taken enough responsibility for her downfall.
Did it say why he bought it?
Sure, yeah, but if you were Bobby, would you take responsibility? You were trying to, like, sure.
So it says, this is what people need to see to go along with this music. That's what it says. This is during the peak of her drug addiction. It's for my family, high taste level, luxury drug rap fans.
High taste, huh?
Literally, this is nothing more than the outcome of our musical therapy sessions. Daytona arrives May 25th. I mean, he's creating controversy. He's going to sell albums. I mean...
Yeah, controversy doesn't sell albums. I don't think it sells albums.
I think he doesn't sell albums, period, so it's hard to even judge that at all because there's no albums being sold. But I don't know, but I mean, isn't it...
Kanye he's doing the reverse Michael Jordan. Like when Michael Jordan, they asked him to endorse a Democratic like candidate in North Carolina, he said no because Republicans buy shoes too.
Yeah, then that clown in 2016 donated $1 million to like NAACP legal fund, but also to like some police union, like each. I'm like how you on the hedge of bets?
Balance them out.
Like, and then someone made a good point. I think it was LZ Granderson, who was like, yeah, they would have their money. Like if these police stations were police, they would have the money if they stopped losing lawsuits for killing people unarmed. It's like how much money do they waste in just lawsuits? No,
it's true, and that's real. But my thing with Kanye
Kanye is doubling down though. He's like, fuck. Yeah, he's like, fuck this Democrats and Republicans buy. I just want my Republicans to buy shit now.
Jesus Christ, he's gonna be sorely disappointed.
He's like, there's more white people in this country than everybody else.
You think that picture?
But they already loved him. That's the problem about it. Now he's turning away like the ones who loved him.
I've never liked Kanye, and like I think Kanye. Right now he's the ultimate white rapper.
Oh goddamn! So
just think about it.
Post Malone.
He's like influencing all these white rappers, and every white person just loves Kanye. And there's like, I don't hate. I'm not racist. I love Kanye. He's like,
Jesus Christ.
That's where he's going now. I can't stand. I hate that Kanye exists. Like he ruined hip hop. Like
no, he didn't.
Yes, he did. He not only did he like bite off of everybody and take credit for it. One, he also like completely took all credibility from hip hop. Hip hop used to be street music. People used to rap about real shit. Then Kanye was talking about fucking being in college and whatnot. Like,
but I was in college then to him. So
I know, man. And you're part of the problem, bro. You're ruining this shit.
That's the thing. Kanye, he gave people like, well, listen, also as like a black person.
If it wasn't for Kanye, there'd be no fucking Drake, man. All right, and Drake has got his own issues as well.
Nice for
Fuck
what?
Aubrey.
Nice for what is nice? Yeah. I also like him on that. I
bet you if it wasn't for Kanye, there would be no song. Mac Miller, and Mac Miller wouldn't have like tried to kill himself because of Ariana Grande.
There will still be Mac Miller.
How do you know about
he'll
this stuff,
just
man? I
be
don't
doing
follow
just like
any of this stuff.
like just frat parties. That's what it would be. He'll still be doing this for his frat parties in like the South. Yeah. Yeah, Kanye. But the thing about Kanye, he was still like as a black person, even the middle class, you were probably still around. Like you're probably still living around people who are not. So say he's not from the streets. It's like his parents aren't. But he was from West Side Chicago.
I got some hood cousins too. Don't mean I.
But still, that's the point. Is that because it's still part of it though. Like they're still in you, right? Yeah, you're not doing like super hood stuff at all. But
I mean, I'm gonna use this as a segue. I mean, you could say the same thing about Donald Glover, except Donald Glover isn't like embracing that aspect of it. I mean, he has a show, Atlanta, which is basically like clowning himself as the square in this environment where he doesn't fit in, Sure. And I feel like there's still parts of Kanye where he's still trying to like hold on to the hood part that he was never really a part of.
I don't think he ever. I don't think trying to. I just think he's just that disconnected from everything. I think he just has no idea what's going on. And he doesn't care to know. That's the funny part about it. Like, dude, just read a book and you won't have to worry about all this stuff. The stuff, like the information's out there. It's
right.
It's not hard to find.
I don't even know what's going on. I don't know why. Well, I don't know why you would buy the picture anyway. Yeah, because it's just a damn picture. You can recreate that.
That's my point too. You don't have to use that one. You can make this shit up, and no one can do it all the time.
You wouldn't have got the headlines though. Wouldn't have got.
That's
the headlines.
why I say controversy sells. But I don't. My thing is, what does that add to your album?
Hey, look, if it wasn't, if he didn't have that TMZ meltdown, I would not have discovered the greatest song ever made. Okay.
Scooby-Doo.
Yes.
I can't listen to that book.
Poop. 2 high-pitched poops. Come on. But, so let's talk about Donald Glover. So, he puts out this video. This is America.
Yeah.
Embraced by tons of people. That because of the message of the video, whatnot. The song itself is it's never gonna go down as shit. Well, it's not a great song, but the video
it's #1 in the hip hop Billboard charts
because of the video.
Sure,
the video is the ultimate commercial for the song.
Sure.
But he's get some pushback from not only the African American community. It looks like the Asian American community as well. Is there a rape community? The anti-rape community? There's shit coming up. Like people keeping receipts from fucking over 10 years ago and bringing shit up now. Like,
sure.
I mean, how do you guys? What do you guys feel about it? Like why? I don't
care.
It's like the society we're in right now.
I don't give a shit. So that's Donald Glover's problem.
If
he's a racist, if he's a misogynist, if he's a whatever, then the people who know that, the people who interact with, I don't interact with Donald Glover. Yeah, you're going to say he influences people, but don't pay attention to him. That's what I say about Kanye, too. Don't pay attention to him. If you're a parent and you're worried about your kid, being influenced,
that's not really my question.
Well, my thing is I don't give a shit. So, but I can't weigh in on it.
Okay, well, this is why you're terrible at improv, because you're not supposed to say fucking no when someone gives you an opening. And you just know this. You need to be better at improv. I'm giving you something. I just don't give a fuck. Let's move on to the next one.
I didn't say let's move on. I'm just saying, who cares?
Shut this down.
But who cares?
Because you're not even like understanding the question. The question is that the whole situation is like, should you be punished for whatever you said in the past fucking 10 years ago, whatever, a joke that you made? Like,
depends on
is
the
that
joke,
okay?
I guess.
Because right now we're in the situation, and for whatever reason we blow up, whatever we said on fucking podcast.
We're already fucked.
Yeah.
But
it's over. Game over.
No, so I don't think that's true. I think we are still trying to figure out how to deal with people's past and how to deal with people. Because never before, no generation has had to grow up
with the
live.
Yeah.
You grow up. Your whole kids who parents have died or fucking born. Imagine goddamn DJ Khaled's son. He literally live fucking streamed his kid's birth. This kid will always be on camera, And so I think as we learn how to better interact and accept people's past, we're going to get better at it. We're going things won't be as conscious. Like for example, who was that Gonzaga player who won the player for the NCAA championship? Well, they put up some of his fucking terrible tweets from when he was like in high school. Like this is like 5, 6 years ago, middle school. Terrible tweets.
So the guy that just got drafted by the Buffalo Bills, Josh
Rosen.
No, Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, okay.
Yeah, Josh Rosen, people just don't like him because he's a prick. And he went to
Sure.
UCLA, so I mean. it's
Oh,
obvious.
actually, Rosen is when he was still. Yeah, it was the other.
yeah,
Yeah,
Josh Allen.
I like Rosen actually. I don't even like UCLA.
I think it has to do with honestly. So if I'm gonna address this based on that comment, not with Donald Glover, but I think it's who you are now. If you're still that same person that you were 10, 15 years ago that comment was said, then you might have a credence to say, hey, you're that person.
And how much do we hold things people said in high school against them?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, but if you're not that person anymore, if you were friends with fucking
I don't see that. There's where I kind of draw the line. Like you hit a certain age where you don't change. Like you change superficially, you might change. Like you might not say as much because you know better, but you still feel those thoughts. And I think that's like around 18, 19 years old. You know,
I feel like I've changed.
No,
you've changed. You internalize the shit that you would have spit out before.
No, see, I don't think 18, 19 is a fair cutoff, and I think I like to keep people open to the possibility of a change. Someone like Trump, who's been doing this for his whole
He's set in
life,
his ways. That's it. It is what it is.
But even then, like I do think it is possible if he cared and like to change. It's like I don't ever want to discount that possibility from somebody because you never know.
So is he the pussy grabber president?
Yes, because he still is who he is. He's not. He hasn't attempted to change. He doesn't give a fuck.
So you'd have to hold him accountable to that then, because he hasn't changed.
But someone like but also he doesn't. But someone like Donald Glover or someone I remember when Tyler the Creator and his group were like just popping off like 7-8 years ago. People were like, how could you listen to this? Black people telling me like you can't. How could you listen to this? They're talking about rape. Yeah, they're 16, 17-year-olds. They have nothing else to talk about right now. They do not know what they're doing. But there's something in their artistry that's interesting. You know, they don't talk about that anymore. Why? Because they're fucking in the mid-20s. They've grown out of it. You know, so yeah, people. I think people can even like you hear some of these racists who in their late 20s realize the error of their ways and they start to try to make amends and change. Like it's possible. Yeah. You know, but you have to make those strides and it has to be obvious. You know, you like.
Well, what he even said criminal? Well, criminal is not the right word, but is it?
It was problematic. Yeah, it is. It's problematic, but actually, I think there's a difference between like problematic and being hateful.
See, and that's the thing is like there's a double standard as well. Like Josh Allen, what he said.
I don't even know what he said.
Some of the tweet he was quoting rap lyrics. So he's just
like the woman at the.
Bring up the
he's
Josh
a white
Allen
kid
tweets.
from Central Valley, California.
Josh Allen racist tweets.
And he was quoting some rap lyrics where there was a nigga or two in there that he dropped, and now it's like, oh well, he's racist because it's like, okay, hold on, he was quoting rap lyrics where you get a high school age and you don't even know any better. You know what I mean? Like especially if you grow up in an area with no white kids, so you're like the hood kid around.
Scroll up, I see it.
Oh, he didn't have any white friends?
I don't think you niggas want a troubled son. Niggas trying to get at me. About to show up these niggas at Pong. If it ain't
that
white,
last
it
one,
ain't right.
That's the most problematic one.
I mean, I don't know
but
what
you
to
see
say
the
to
context of what he's saying there.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what song it was off of, maybe, but
I don't know about ping pong unless that's the actual lyric.
He's not calling a black person.
Yeah, no, I agree. This like the woman at the Kendrick Lamar concert where she's like, just going along, So that was hilarious. But that's the thing. Like
Plus, it depends on where did he grow up though. Like, who were his friends? Who did he grow up around?
But let's imagine this 20. I try to imagine 20 years ago. We were both. I was a child 20 years ago. But the point is, this causes an uproar on the internet. But this is not going to necessarily ruin him. I don't think it will ruin even a politician in 10 years. Yeah. Because we understand that people have these. We're growing out of it, and this is an age.
If it was switched though, if he were black, talking about white people, obviously there's no term for there's no racial slur equivalents. But what I'm saying is, if he was saying we need to lynch all the white people for whatever,
let me ask you,
he might not be getting drafted, or that might ruin him.
Do you think white people invented racism, and the proof is in the pudding because they have all the best slurs for everybody else, and there's no good racist like retorts to white people?
Well, the only reason I don't know, I think it's only because it's not a good retort because they've always had the power. It's like if you have a younger sibling and you see them and they say something to you like, I don't care. You push them in the ground because what they say doesn't matter, you know. But what you say down to them because you're pushing them in the ground matters, you know. Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't think so.
So
I mean, there's even sub insults for like other groups of white people from like the Brits, you know.
Yeah,
like,
from other
like
white
there's
people.
even good insults for Italians, and there's like Dago, Guinea, Wop, those are great. But there's no retort back, like even the good ones, like you call a white person a crack. What does that come from? Because they used to crack the whip. That's a power.
It's still a power. Says that the power never
and
gets
a honky
there.
because they used to go like pick up hookers and they used to honk their horn.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I thought they were calling honkies way before cars, but I guess not.
No.
Every time, like I was in Home Depot last week in September, Earth, Wind and Fire came on, and all I could do is think about that part that they like parody. I saw this music video once. I don't think Donald Glover is. I don't think Childish Gambino is as great as people say. His last album was nominated for Album of the Year. I guess they had one song that I liked on it.
Well, he probably wouldn't exist. His music wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Kanye as well. So you could blame Kanye for that.
No, well, he said that he's called himself the son of Kanye. And I don't.
What do you think about this tweet?
Straight white male has become this century's N-word. It used to offend and diminish the recipient based on assumption and bias. No difference in the usage.
Again. People, it's hard to take out the context of America out of any of these things anybody's saying. It's all steeped in it. So he can say that, and sure, he doesn't like someone to say white person, like white, what do you say, straight white male. However, it talks about his sexual orientation privilege and his white privilege. Two of them. Like you don't hear like, oh, gay white male in that same. He's not saying that. So I think he's wrong.
And I think I know people are like they have a.
I'm still waiting to cash in on my.
They have very
straight.
Yeah,
privilege.
I'm still waiting on that privilege too.
And I mean, I guess I wasn't going to talk about the Vita show, but that fucking show on Stars. The only way fucking Hispanics can get shows is by being gay.
Well, but you see that true with a lot of this has been like an argument that black folk have made too. Like, yeah, sure.
Not anymore though. Not anymore. That's not an argument I would accept anymore.
Jane the Virgin is a show full of like people of color who that's one of the most diverse shows. And it's not because they're gay necessarily. Because so this is what I'll say. The straight privilege is evident by the fact that so many things are about straight people. It's just heteronormative culture we live in. That's the privilege. The privilege is that you also don't have to worry about telling someone that you like them and getting murdered. That's a fucking privilege. I don't know what that feels like.
I don't.
That's a reach.
It's not a reach. It's not a reach.
It is
the reason why Grindr exists and the reason why these things because
guys like to fuck.
No, it's because you can't go to a guy and assume that he's gay too because that could it has ended people's lives. That's a real thing. Like it's real.
So it's a privilege because I was born with something that I have no control over.
It happens.
But,
so I'm supposed to feel guilty about it.
But
I'm not guilty.
We're like in a gray area with that though, because I mean I've talked about this with you how there's hella straight white dudes out there that sound gay as fuck. So like gay dudes out there, he don't know any better. So he's like. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the issue. He's like talking to dude. I got him in the back of my car. This guy's talking about fucking bitches left and right. And I'm like, dude, this guy sounds like Richard Simmons in my car right now. This is a thing. Not so much with Latinos. We're pretty,
Well, we're
gendered. It gets kind of canceled out when you're a person of color, I think. Honestly, like it's.
No, it gets multiplied if you're a person of color. Because imagine you are a gay woman of color.
But we live in 2018, man, and I see
and they're getting murdered left and right.
Where? Not in this fucking country.
Can you Google queer women murdered to 2018? It isn't. It's happening constantly. It goes back to the reason why Coogler might have misinterpreted, assuming he did, the statements by Stallone. It's because it's baked into the context of this country and our lives. Like. I remember going to the Getty years ago looking for gifts from my grandmother's for like Mother's Day.
How's the camera?
And I saw this picture of like some 1950s like LA, and I was like, oh, this would be good, but it's like all these white people smiling, and I know what 1950s LA was like for a person of color. That already, I'm seeing that say, what if I give this to? What if she has a story about going to some place like this and something terrible happened to it?
That's valid.
You know, but that's the privilege that a white person may not have. And so, and this extends also to people in the queer community.
This is the way I kind of the issue that I have with what's going on in our world today is that like now we have the LGBT community being treated as their own ethnic group per se, and now opportunities that were being given to people of color are starting to get taken away because they're using this as a group. And fucking the conspiracy theorist in me feels like it's just another way to throw another white person a job.
Well,
because if you look at these, like, and I'm just going by because I know people that have got into diversity programs and they were white, but they were also gay or lesbian, and they got in, and that's like taken away. Not to say, because I've heard the diversity programs are awful. I heard they're like not the best way to get it. But that's not the point. Is that we're starting to see more representation for these groups of people, and I'm being told that I have this privilege or whatever, like, because if you take away the white, I'm still a straight male, and that's getting thrown at me. But I'm not benefited in anything. Like this renaissance that we're having is not benefiting Daniel and I for sure. Just as Latinos in general, it has not benefited us whatsoever. We're getting bypassed. We're getting bypassed by the women, you know, the feminist movement, which is fine, whatever. But it's like it's like things were moving in a certain direction, and then all of a sudden they got leapfrogged.
Well, see, so I think the problem with that framing is that the framing assumes that it's a zero-sum game, and it's not. You know, everybody could and should be able to make what they don't, but resources are finite. Sure, I understand that. However, the idea of like leaping somebody, or the idea, it sets up a false dichotomy that isn't there, because these people are underrepresented. The fact that that people of color are too doesn't make their lives any less important, or makes their lives make what they're going through any less hard.
It's not. I don't even mean it as an importance thing or that. I'm not like disrespecting someone the way someone grew up, or like the life that they lived, their experience. It's not about the experience. What it's about is, you say underrepresented. If we break down the percentage in the population, I would say they're overrepresented.
Well, maybe see. I don't even want to break it down into that, because we also don't know, because there have been a lot of people who are able. This is one thing that you do have as a queer individual, is that if you keep that into yourself and never say that, and you could live a heteronormative life. It may be fucking terrible. It has to be terrible, I presume, because you're just like not true to yourself. But you can live with some of those privileges still. And that's the thing about being a male. Like, you can still be a male and still have these privileges, you know, and still go on Grindr at night.
What privileges?
The privileges, again.
Move out of fucking Texas then. Move out of the South, where you're going to get ridiculed for that.
Yeah,
come to LA, come to Portland, come to fucking Austin. Go to the places where they're going to accept you. And you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, again, I've said this too, like when people talk about Democrats are leaving these Republican areas and making it even more Republican. I'm like, yeah, because you don't want to fucking live in a place where you can be killed or where your life would be terrible. I understand that. However, that still takes means. That still means that you may have to remove yourself from family. Like, it isn't just that easy to get up and go. You're born and raised in LA. It's easier. You know, I tell people I'm privileged because I'm from LA. If I weren't born and raised in Compton, do I think I would be in the film industry?
Yeah, but you can make this argument that the people who are born in America are more privileged than the people who are born in any other third world fucking country, gay or not.
I agree.
Gay or not. So, I mean, we can throw this back and forth. My whole thing is, what am I doing that's conveying a sense of privilege? That's my thing. What am I doing by living my life? You know, what am I doing that's conveying a sense of male privilege? It's just a can
of worms, because we can go on for days. Like,
see, so what, should I just kill myself so there's no more fucking male privilege?
It's like to have the privilege doesn't necessarily mean you will always have it. Acknowledging it is one thing. And not acknowledging it is different.
I think we just living in a crazy world right now where
I love it.
Where women are holding up signs saying that gay dudes are fucking women haters because they won't have sex with straight women. If a straight man won't date a trans woman, then that means they're transphobic. there's that.
But the transgender women getting mad.
I just saw this today. It might even be a fake fucking meme, but someone was holding a sign, like it was a woman holding a sign saying that gay men are so and so because they won't date.
You should have saved it.
A straight woman.
I
mean, that's another thing, that there's a lot of trans women who are still like domestic abusers. Like, it's very high. So there's like a whole lesbian community that's like anti-trans women.
Interesting.
Because they still like whatever.
Because they still have that male. They still, you talk about what male privilege is. They still have it. You know, they still have that sense that I'm a male.
They're still that bitch. You ain't disrespecting me right now.
Yeah, or because you hear stories of women saying in meetings how men will just ignore them and repeat what they said, what they might have brought up 5 minutes later, and get a different response. That's a privilege. You may not see it because this is who you are.
So there's a popularity privilege too, because that sounds like my high school experience. Anything I said that was funny, they'd ignore me, and then someone else would repeat the same thing. That sounds. I mean. That's what I'm saying. Go back and forth all day long, because thing.
Popularity, but there's popularity also. Popularity doesn't come from nothing. You know, you don't just wake up popular. There are things that happen that allow people to become popular.
And so I mean, the fundamental argument is men and women have gender roles, and we're trying to break them down, right? No, evolution. If you believe in evolution, you have to believe in the gender roles that have been established in terms of like simple rudimentary hunter-gatherer shit. The men went to hunt, the women gathered.
Not in all societies.
Not in all societies. That's absolutely true. But I think there is an evolution. Our bodies are different.
Sure.
Our bodies are different.
Sure.
We can't have kids.
We cannot.
Period. No matter what. No matter if we have we change our sex, we're not going to have kids at this point in 2018.
Sure.
Who knows? 2048, we might be able to have kids.
Sure.
But that's a difference. We got to acknowledge that.
Okay.
Men are usually bigger than women.
Okay.
Right? So you have the physical thing. So if that's the male privilege.
Unless they're from Guam.
If that's the male privilege, fine. But how? What do you want him to do? Do you want to demasculate the man? What is the solution? Let's. I guess
I'll use myself as an example, because I don't. People tell me I have male privilege, and it's true. I accept it. Okay. You know, it is. I, as a male, like I was talking to a friend a couple years ago. I was talking about just online dating, how different it is as a male. You know how
that is not a privilege.
It is a privilege because we also go
because there's 1,000 of us and there's one of them.
No. I say it's a privilege because, like, I remember when I realized I don't walk around with the rape whistle. I never crossed my mind.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Like that's definitely one of like the probabilities of a man getting raped are fucking next to nothing.
Well, no, they do. I think it was like one. I think it was 1 in 16, opposed to like 1 in a quarter or 1 in a third women. You know, so it happens. But the point is, the fact that isn't on your mind when you walk down the street means that you have a certain amount of privilege. It matters. You know, now what you do with that, you know, who's to say? You know, but maybe what you do with that is that you're conscious of this. So then when you do interact with a woman, you don't. Like, you keep that in mind. Like, okay, she's by herself. She's this. She may have these fears. It's the same fear as me as a black man, white privilege. They see cops. They react differently. I have a different fear of it. You know, it's a privilege. Now, I'm not saying, you know, it means that maybe you come to the defense of a person of color more often. Maybe that's all it means. Or maybe it just means don't use the privilege that you have because you're born with it. You have no control over. You don't. You know, it's like you have no control over the fact that you don't have white privilege. You don't have control over that, you know.
No.
But what you can do is not wield that privilege against people who don't have it.
Well, I guess Daniel's next retort to that is like, how has he been wielding it? I think that's
I don't know.
That's
something else that I know people have issues with, because especially us as men, we don't self-examine all these different things that we do.
But why should I have to?
Because you don't live in this world alone.
I have to. Why
because
should
you
for
don't
me
live in this
as a
world
person?
alone.
But if I'm not doing anything that's causing someone to, like, okay, let's.
I mean, I feel like we can't advance society unless like we all kind of like do shit for the greater good to a certain extent.
Like, don't vote for Trump.
Well, I mean, I didn't vote for Trump, but my thing is.
And also, if if anybody gets mad because of the use of white privilege out there,
Google it and do some research.
I don't even the explanations you get from like social justice sites and whatever, like
Justice.
you know what I mean? Like
No,
for me,
they're scholars.
this is what white privilege is more than anything else out there. Is that no matter where you go, you never have to question anything. You never have to wonder if you got the job because of affirmative action. You never have to wonder if the cops are fucking with you.
Yeah.
Because you never have to worry if like you got bad service at a restaurant.
You can become president and be the most unqualified ever.
You cannot speak English, and you're not gonna have another white guy calling you, calling ice on you.
Yeah,
that guy.
if that woman sounded French, it wouldn't have happened.
I'm not.
And that for me, that's what white privilege is. Like, I don't want to talk about the economic shit or anything. It's just that like, I'll tell you what, like Daniel and I got into USC. We were the only. It was us, and then like
one other, and he was half Mexican, and it really, I don't count it.
Of our class, like we get into this. They accepted 50 people a year or semester, whatever.
72.
Okay. And we're the only Latino people, and then like this whole time, and I still to this day, like I wonder, like one of the reasons why I got in was because
fucking last name.
I was my last.
Well, see,
name.
but that's my thing. Who cares?
Who cares?
You can't, but it's always in the back of your head.
Oh no,
though. You know what
see, I guess because LMU, I was one of two of our like production of like 22, one of two black people. And I never crossed my mind front of action. I don't, because it doesn't matter. However, it is different because you are one of the few, like culturally, things just don't align with the rest of the class. Imagine also if you're a woman. How many women were in that USC class?
More than Latinos.
Way more, a lot.
Yeah, but how many compared to men?
So the majority of them were women.
The majority.
A lot.
Good for USC.
I don't know if it was majority, but it was pretty close. It was
good
close
for
to
USC.
50-50.
Yeah,
Good.
I would definitely say it was definitely close to 50-50.
Good for USC.
For sure. Like, that's not, without a shadow of a doubt. There was no underrepresentation.
How many women of color?
That's a different story.
Yeah, now you're talking about Mexican numbers now. Now you're talking Latino numbers. I think there was a few. I mean, I think there was more.
Not in the undergrad, in the grad program, yeah.
Yeah, maybe I'm thinking about grad students.
But USC loves black grad students.
Well, to tie it together to film, because maybe this is how I can agree with you and we can find common ground. Because it's not like I think you're wrong or I think that, because sometimes I do feel attacked because I do hit those markers. I am cisgendered straight male. I am. So like, I don't want to talk about the Jason Bateman thing, but someone in my fraternity in our Facebook group posted that, and it was like, they posted it something whatever, and then they said like, we're all the cisgendered males now saying stuff or whatever, because they're trying, like, for me that's that's trying to attack, that's trying to to cause like a ruckus to have me to say something.
And that's further dividing people into fucking
and that's
groups
my point.
too.
Like,
fuck out of here.
But where I will
Hit dog
concede,
hollers, man.
where I will concede with you is when not the Me Too, but when Harvey Weinstein broke. The Me Too it exists, it's a thing, but really what changed the game for me for everybody was Harvey Weinstein. I mean, I don't know when your first set was back after like Harvey Weinstein, that whole thing broke.
Yeah.
But it was fucking awkward. I mean, it's still awkward, I feel like. Just you can't even like, you have to make sure you're extra, you don't want to do anything remotely.
I don't.
I'm not saying you, people, me.
But it matters.
I'm a sound guy, so I have to touch people.
Sure.
I have to, and so I would always do this, but I would have to like, I literally I brought women with me into the fucking room to make sure. I've never had to do that, and I've always been 100%.
Okay, and I think that's good actually, because
it holds other people accountable.
No. Because now you're thinking about this other person that you're interacting with on a different level.
But no one's ever said anything before.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that they didn't feel it or have a certain way about it.
I never just touch people. I always ask.
It ain't even just touching it.
But see, because I can tell you why I do it, because the guy who fucking taught us how to law was some fucking creep. And he was fucking, no, I'm dead fucking serious.
I believe you.
And so he was telling some stories about fucking Meryl Streep or whatever. Like, anyway, it was not.
He's a weirdo. Sure.
Yeah, Meryl Streep. That's like.
Well,
bragging.
Lobbing Meryl Streep during the Academy Awards and like feeling up her leg and like, oh, you guys do the same thing.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
it's fucking weird. No,
that's my point.
But I never did that because I saw that. I made sure to not do that.
Still.
But now I feel like I had to do another step, but I never felt like I needed to do before. But I didn't want to fucking ever even remotely get into that situation.
But see, so this is what's so funny about it, is that, like, people who are shook probably because they did some shit.
See, I don't agree with that.
You know, not maybe not always, sure, but like what is that fear unless like Jeffrey Tambor, like he knew he had done things. Like he knew. There's no way he didn't know this. He apologized immediately. You know, so it's like a lot of these people that's coming out, it's coming out because they have done things. But the reason why I say it's a good thing that you're thinking about that is that you bring in women, because have you ever asked the other person, even if you didn't do anything? I know you didn't do anything. Did you ever ask them how they felt though, just period?
Yeah, every time. I always bring up, like, I know this is awkward, I'm sorry.
Sure.
Every fucking time, because it is fucking awkward.
See, I feel like that's making it more awkward, too.
But it is fucking awkward.
And sure.
You have to literally fucking put your hands on another woman or a man, whatever.
Sure.
I've done it on both. Like, when you're lobbing them, you gotta go in. I feel like
the only thing you gotta ask them is, do you want me to put this on, or do you want to put it on yourself? That's all
I always ask that.
That's
sure.
But then they say, do you do it? And I said, is it okay if I do this? Is it okay if I put my hand here? Is it okay if I've always done that before Harvey Weinstein.
Would that behavior change even if you put it on a man?
I still ask.
That's my point. So what's the price? So that's my.
I've never, and I still haven't brought another man in to lob another man. I'm just curious to
understand where this feeling of guilt comes in.
I just said I've never had to do that with a man.
Yeah,
I've never brought another man
Gian
into
said
my.
That he doesn't feel guilt about any of this. I don't feel good about it. So my question is, like, where does this feeling of guilt come in?
Because I feel like because I am a cisgendered straight male.
So what?
So what?
I am too.
Maybe I just don't know how to ignore things well enough. No, I mean, because I feel like I check those boxes off for that particular thing. Not the lobbing thing,
I think the other part of it too is like you're on the peripherals of this bubble of people who are like very.
That's other thing. All my fucking Facebook friends are SJWs,
or not.
And it's
like
just...
you have like
love that term.
You have a group of people who are like constantly bringing up every little minor whatever infraction. Like, I mean, this whole Jason Bateman thing. We got the article around here somewhere. You know, whatever he said, he defended Jeffrey Tambor. Like he mansplained. Then it's like, it's not that big a deal to fucking blow up, to make a whole blow up out of it. Like, you know what I mean? Like. He said what he said. He felt a certain way. He realized that, okay, maybe I should have just kept my mouth shut, you know. But I don't know. It's just one of those things. Like, I don't know what Jeffrey Tambor got accused of shit in the 1970s or something, right?
He apologized quick too as soon as it came out.
So did Morgan Freeman. He apologized too.
Well, his was kind of vague. I heard it.
Well, he said, "Sorry if I offended anybody."
If I offended, it's like you're. That's not apologizing. That's a great.
Well, I mean, he didn't do Kevin Spacey. I'm coming out as a gay man, like.
Well, that was Kevin Spacey tried to pull some other shit. Like, okay, maybe if I tell people I'm gay, they're just gonna ignore the rest.
He tried to use his white privilege.
He tried to use his gay privilege,
and it didn't work out for him.
Because he thought he was going to have allies, and
I guess I don't feel guilty per se, but I definitely feel like some of these things, I don't want to call them attacks. I don't know a better word, but I feel like some of these things are being misdirected.
Sure.
Some of them are definitely where they need to be, but sometimes, you know, to go back to the Nazi thing, not everyone's a Nazi. Not everyone is a Nazi. To say everyone is a Nazi is attacking, in my opinion, a democracy.
Yeah, but
we have that right of choice.
Yeah, but that person who is not a Nazi but says, "Yeah, I'm gonna hold the door open for the Nazis to go get these Jews."
But has anyone fucking said that?
Well, people vote for Trump to me, or they may not be
so
Nazis.
To me, that's not a one-to-one equivalency, man. I can't swallow that
I'm
pill.
kind of with Aaron to a certain extent. Like, when people like are jumping out there about First Amendment, like, oh, this is our First Amendment rights to say shit. They, you know, it's our like. Okay,
you can, but it doesn't exempt you from punishment, like the racist white guy,
right? And
losing
you're
his business and all that shit.
You're defending, but you're also like defending like these racist people instead of condemning them. And like, I mean, it's this whole like. And I'm like kind of like you know, the Tommy Lauren thing, like somebody threw a drink in her face, whatever, you know, like how do you guys feel about that? Like, don't physically assault people.
Anybody? That guy who assaulted that black guy at the Trump rally?
Yeah.
And then they released a video about how he basically like they was there at that court date and he forgave him or whatever, which is fine.
Who, the black guy forgave him?
The racist
God, I can't stand when black people do that.
See, so what? So what do you want him to do?
I can't stand people do it.
You sound like a hypocrite.
No. The reason why is because we are always expected to apologize and to forgive.
Well, what he said was, in his own words, what was I going to be? The angry black guy? What, am I going to punch him in court and go to jail?
But no, you don't have to. But
that's what he said. I didn't say that. He said that.
But you still don't have to forgive him. You can still say, the guy's a dick. I hope whatever he gets, whatever he gets
said
coming
he
to
cried. And the white guy cried in front of him, and he said he felt like when he actually came up to him man to man in court and said apologize, that he felt the sincerity.
Yeah.
And then he said what do you want to be the angry black guy comment? And
again, he still couched his, and again, just like always, in the context of America. The fact that he feels that there is this archetype of angry black man, and he doesn't want to be it, means that it's there. So he's stuck in this context of American racism.
I agree.
So it's like, so why apologize?
Okay, so what would you just have him ignore it, let him get his day in court, and then have be done with it?
Yeah,
I'm genuinely asking.
You can still accept his apology and say I don't forgive you your actions because your actions were not independent. Like this dude lived his entire life to this point, and he punches a guy at a rally of a guy who has openly talked about assaulting people of color.
And I agree with you. And I do not like Trump. I don't like Trump.
Wait, you don't like Trump? I'm joking.
I don't like that.
Has Trump explicitly said assaulting people of color though?
Well, he talks about at his rallies punching people.
Things can be extreme. What I'll say about Trump is he doesn't have to say things specifically to rile up a bunch of people to make their own guesses about it and their own inferences. Like the whole MS-13 thing. I still think that when he said the original comment, he was talking about the MS-13 people. Mm-hmm. Now people have said, well, it doesn't matter because his track record shows that he'd probably call those immigrants animals too, which I don't disagree with at all either, because of the fact that he called all those shithole. That's in his nature. That's who he is. That's the type of person he is. But let's stick to the facts here. For me, he calls them animals here. That's who he was calling animals. He wasn't calling all immigrants animals. He wasn't in this instance. To some people that doesn't matter. To me that does matter. I don't know. Am I the wrong person to say that it matters that you're going to report something accurately?
Well, I think the funny part about him even suggesting that MS-13 is animal, like the issue is they're still human beings, and
well, we're all fucking animals.
But yeah,
if you want to break it down like that,
sure. Sure, but we know Trump. We know Trump.
I don't have a problem with him calling like this ruthless gang a bunch of animals
that America created.
I mean that's if we really want to get technical, the Mexicans in America created.
Yeah.
So
no, but they were El Salvadorians.
Well, no. So the disease was created in East LA by Mexicans picking on Salvadorians.
Sure.
And then the U.S. made that disease grow even bigger by deporting them back to El Salvador.
But why were they even here?
Because of the war.
Because America gave them clemency to come to the United States, So and then when you say, "Oh, we're tired of you guys," you just ship them back.
Strange statement, Aaron. You're just like you're like, you know what? You guys shouldn't have been here in the first place.
No, that is what the policy.
Well, the problem is that you had a lot of guys that came here. They were 1 or 2 years old. They never had no recollection of El Salvador whatsoever. So they basically sent Americans back to this other country. And it's a joke about the Mexicans, by the way.
I know.
It is their fault, but it's not.
But I'm not saying that. I'm just saying for me but the only reason
why, I mean, one day we can have a whole podcast talking about like the hierarchy in Latino in the Latino nations together.
Well, it depends on what the guest would be too, because they would have a whole different ball game depending on where they're from. They might not think of but anyway.
Well, we would all hate people from Argentina. We probably wouldn't be big fans of Cubans. White
people like Cubans, but anyway,
Republicans.
That's the point.
I brought up Trump, the animal thing, not to talk about that he called them animals, but because you can extrapolate things based on what he said, and some of the things he says aren't direct, but they're fucking retarded, like the whole NFL thing, the whole kneeling thing, right? What he just said was basically, if you don't kneel, you don't belong in this country, and that's Colin Kaepernick brought that up however many moons ago now. That's his right, and I stick by that. I still, to this day, don't fucking stand any national anthem. I don't give a shit. My mom gets mad every single time. Yeah, even at the playoff games, I'm at the Dodger games. I'm the only one sitting.
I haven't done it since high school.
She's like, stand up, come on. And I don't.
Well, yeah, it's probably. I remember I was at a Braves game one time, and I was sitting down. This is in Atlanta. This is like fucking maybe 10, 12 years ago. Some dude tapped me on the shoulder, stand up. He fucking touched me. You know how upset I was that this guy touched me.
Was he white? Was it his white male privilege?
This motherfucker. I mean, I was so fucking pissed off that he fucking touched me to try to get me to stand up for this bullshit.
But see, I wasn't even. For me, I wasn't. I just didn't want to because I don't have to.
You don't have
that
to.
That doesn't make me an American for standing up. That's the only reason why.
But,
not because of injustice like Colin Kaepernick.
But Trump again. So when he says,
well, this is all. Everything he says is for his constituents. This is also.
It's for him too.
I think so. I think it's for him.
Maybe
100%.
I mean, part of me feels like he's just the biggest con artist on the planet, and all this shit.
I don't disagree with that.
He's just saying all. He's just saying all the right. He knows who elected him. He knows that he's.
But that's who he is.
But he knows everything he promised. He's been failing on it so far.
But he's been actively trying to not fail. But he doesn't understand how politics works.
Because he got elected, and he's like, fuck, because he knows he might not get a second term. You know. I feel like there's nothing worse. I feel like losing an election
in a second term. I think
that's
thinks
why
he will.
Maybe
because he's
that's
that
possibility.
stupid.
But let's just break it down. Let's break it. People right now are talking about if LeBron doesn't make it to the finals, it's better than him losing in the finals. It's the same thing. I feel like
that is the dumbest argument. Who's saying
it's
this?
dumb. All the sports people are saying it. Because think about it.
I'd rather lose.
No. Think about it. 20 years from now, no one's going to remember that you lost in the conference finals.
They
will remember that you lost in the finals. No, they won't because nobody.
Oh no, conference finals.
Nobody ever talks about Michael Jordan coming back from off retirement and losing to the Orlando Magic. You know, like
and
everybody thinks like, oh, he just came back and he started winning championships.
Maybe until people start using flawed logic, you know, which happens. You know, sometimes people say, okay, we were thinking wrong then.
Well, but I'm using it for
but your point,
this. Like, I think it's worse to not get a second term than it is to not win the presidency.
Not if you lose running, because how many presidents have actually lost a second term when they ran?
That's what I'm saying. That's worse. That is worse than not getting elected at all.
But sure.
Yeah, because it would.
Jimmy Carter.
It would.
They're fucking footnotes.
Yeah, huge blemish on whatever he accomplished, quote unquote.
Whatever he did.
Okay, and let's talk about. Let's segue over to Trump and his accomplishments right now. Like it's another ongoing fight. The people that support Trump will any chance they get will try to talk about all the great things he did. Like for example, this current tax term where everybody got an extra $1,000.
So fucking stupid.
You know,
they're not
if you're married and have a child, you got you got double.
You're losing it in gas. You'll lose all that in gas increases.
Well, you'll lose it. You're gonna lose it in a few years when those tax benefits aren't.
When they sunset.
Yeah.
You know, which taxes usually don't sunset though, because Congress has a tough time going back to their constituents saying, "Well, I didn't vote for it."
But I wanted to talk to you about the North Korea thing because so many people were like, "Look at that." Look at that. Nobody else has been able to get North Korea to sit down.
Pulled out, so.
I know. And now that's blowing up in their face. But you were in South Korea.
I want one of those commemorative coins that he said. It was on sale apparently for $20.
Really? That's a real thing?
Yeah.
Google that.
There's the...
What's it called?
Commemorative Trump, just Trump Kim coin.
Trump Kim coin.
But you were in South Korea before this...
Trump and Kim.
You were in South Korea before all this shit happened. Like you have more of a different perspective on what was going on between North Korea and South Korea.
It's still on sale after failed meeting.
Yeah.
Wow. I want one.
Well, it's funny because I remember the day after the election, my students asked me, Korean students asked me what I think about it, and I was trying not to cry in class because it was so brutal. You know, because I have a lot of friends from France, friends from I met so many people from all over the world. I remember the weekend before the election, I was telling a woman from Ireland and a woman from France, no, there's no way he's gonna fucking lose. I was she's gonna fucking lose. I said America's too smart for this. Like we're better people than this.
We all thought that.
No, we're not.
I know. So I fucking wept that Tuesday. What is that? They're so stupid. You know, but I say that because what you don't hear is I was also there when they impeached their president, the Koreans, when they impeached
the woman,
President Park. You know, and no one, my students were surprised that they impeached her. No one thought that would happen because they also did not have a system in place for that because it had never ever been they didn't know what was going to happen. They had to have special sessions in order to figure out what the next step was if they impeached her. And they only impeached her. I keep telling people this when her approval rating got to 5% for a couple of weeks. That's when that started. She wasn't going to get impeached until they dropped that goddamn low. But this is years in the making, from the ferry disaster, from then her having this this religious person that she would share her information, the president
Was
show
she a
information
psychic or
with.
something?
She was like, yeah, not quite a psychic, but she was like a spiritual advisor who then she also helped get this woman's daughter get into one of the top schools in Korea, which Koreans are not about nepotism, although, you know, everybody about nepotism. You know, they even passed an anti-nepotism law when I was there because of all this stuff in response to her. So I say that because President
I'm
Moon,
fucking down with that shit.
now what, the anti-nepotism
Hell
law?
yeah.
I'm totally
Well,
down
it was
with
funny because as a teacher, you couldn't even get like candy from students because there was something called Papero Day. Like, it was just like November 11th, which they give like these candies to
That
teachers.
sounds like a Mexican holiday.
Papero Day, you know, because it's like
No
this.
apples then? You got no apples from your students?
Well, I never care about that shit anyway, but it mattered
Do
because
they
like they
have
couldn't give
apples
anything.
in Korea?
But I say that because like, a lot of people don't talk about is that Moon, the guy who actually won, was a progressive. Park was conservative, so she was conservative. The conservatives in South Korea don't believe in trying to reconcile with the North. Like they keep
keep them separated. Keep them over there. Keep them out of our business.
very, very much so. So this is what Obama was dealing with. This is his counterpart in South Korea. Then he runs on a progressive platform, and the young people are fired up because they fucking hated Park. A lot has to do with that ferry disaster. Like 300 high school kids died, you know, and that they still blame her
Ain't
for
no
it.
coming back from that one.
Yeah, like so that like really like so young people. I'm having so many young people say that they're like, no, we didn't vote for her. Our grandparents did, you know. So they didn't. They hated her. So he ended up winning, and he was always considered a progressive, mind you, anti-gay progressive, but a progressive nonetheless, you know. So
Most of our presidents.
but he ran
All of them?
on talking and opening dialogue with the North. This is one thing he campaigned on, you know. So it's funny that people are not talking about that. The fact that you had a president who was more willing in the South side.
That doesn't fit the American narrative.
Well, especially not the Trump narrative,
Right.
You know, where it's like I'm sure behind the scenes before Trump was like they had been trying to get these overtures. They had been reaching.
They had to have been because obviously
yeah.
Trump wasn't like, hey,
No.
let's meet.
No, but he definitely likes to take credit for other people's work. For
Well,
sure.
it's even like
That's
the Iranian deal. Like when you hear about the years that went in before the deal to even get a line of communication with Iran, with how they had these so like low level delegates. What on with it? Not delegates. International people for the State Department.
Ambassadors?
Yeah, not even
Consulate.
ambassadors. Yeah, like the really low level. Like they had to go through back channels. It took them like months to even establish.
That's an accomplishment.
It is an accomplishment.
Well, no.
Oh, what
So
Trump
what
is doing.
Gian's
Yeah.
saying, because I think that's Gian's point is pulling out the Iran deal. That was a campaign promise. He did that, you know. Now he fulfilled his promise, you know. But what are the ramifications of that?
I don't even know. Like, this is like shit.
I've read
I
both
don't
sides
even know
on the
what like
Iran deal.
why it's a bad deal or if it's a good deal.
So
Like,
so what I've read, the reason why it's a bad deal is they still were holding certain sites that they were basically off limits, and they still haven't been inspected, and they were.
It wasn't nuclear sites.
Well, not according to the fucking articles I read. Again,
What
I'm not saying
What
that it's.
articles are these?
I mean, I'm pretty sure. I think it was the Post.
part of it too is you got Israel there and they want to bomb the fuck.
Although they
out
have
of Iran.
they have nuclear arms themselves.
Yeah.
No, I know it's all. I mean, everything is just. There's no black and white in anything.
Well, see, part of the reason why they wanted to pull out of it is because Obama did it. Let's just not beat around that bush. But also, they were still allowed to create ballistic missiles, you know, which wasn't part of the deal. They also, the hope is too by removing the sanctions and by Iran doing this that they would become better players. They wouldn't support terrorist groups as the U.S. sees it, you know, and that didn't happen. He said, if anything, they became even more rooted in that. But they didn't have a nuclear weapon. It would have taken them 10 years if they tried, but they weren't trying because we had regulators going in there, you know. But the reason why he wanted to pull out of it is because he wanted some guarantees that they never would have gotten in the first place, or they never would have happened, you know. And so Iran can build, if they start the thing tomorrow, they can have a nuclear bomb in a year. And opposed to 10 years.
It's kind of like the whole thing with the kneeling, right? Because that's all of the, not all of them, but the the owners are all saying that it was Trump. Trump is basically the reason why this whole kneeling rule came into.
The owners are suckers. They're lying.
This is also
that's what they said on that ESPN article.
This is also appealing to their constituents as well, man. Because the fact of the matter is the NFL, and I still don't completely buy it, but 2016 was a down year for the NFL. I think a lot of that had to do with Trump being such a polarizing figure. Like, he was more entertaining than watching some of these games. You know, that's a big part of it.
Well, what do you think's going to happen after this?
See, that's the thing.
Because I think this is going to fuck the NFL.
I don't think it is, because it's still like the majority of people who are NFL fans, like legit NFL fans, are in the South, and they're the ones that want this shit. Us here, it is so hard to stay home and watch games in LA.
It's hard to go to Rams games if you see the pictures.
Yeah, exactly. People don't go to the games. People don't. They just don't give a fuck.
Well, you don't watch football. Games. You don't even watch your Cowboys, though, right?
Well, no. A part of it too is because of what they have done to the cap. You know that, and also the NFL is just disgusting. Like what they have done with CTE and how they tried to squash that. It's like they're these people really. I've met people who have played in the NFL, and what happens to their bodies and their brains is disgusting, and the NFL knows what's happening. They've always known.
They should play without helmets.
You know, yeah, I see.
But I feel like there's also a little bit of common sense involved in there. Like you running full speed at another man, and you guys are making contact. Like, that's not gonna lead to good things.
Yeah, but
you know it's like a boxer. Like, I don't want to ever hear a boxer complaining that he's got like head trauma. Like, you get punched in the face for a living. You know what you're getting into, and it's kind of a trade off. Like, you're basically
money.
You're spending the young years of your life awesome, better than all three of us at this table.
Mm-hmm.
Later on, when you get older, shit's gonna suck. You know?
Yeah, but
you just got to make that trade off. Do I want like an average life all the way through, or do I want this awesome life?
Problem is, there's too many white quarterbacks, and they're not the ones getting CTE. That's what it is.
Well, but also it's not just like these are NFLers, but they're kids in high school and college who do this, who go through it.
That's fair.
Who they're not benefiting from it because of the NCAA and the way it's set up.
Yeah, fuck the NCAA. You know? That's why when you brought up I don't watch anything anymore because of the just the more and more stuff you find out about how dirty they are.
You have doctors in NFL who purposely don't diagnose people correctly and who push them to go out there and play even when they're hurt.
Because they're team doctors. You know? They need to get that player out there for the business.
And the fact that the NFL can go and make this rule without even consulting the players union, it just shows a disregard for the players.
Do you think people are going to kneel?
I don't see. That's the thing.
Do you think this is going to stop it?
I don't know.
Depends on how big the fine is.
Well, see, I also don't want to put that on a 22-year-old kid who was just, you said, his entire life, this is all he wanted to do is play in the NFL, and he gets the opportunity now he has to deal with this bullshit. He just wants to play fucking football.
Yeah, that's I talk about that too.
So then,
like,
what do you do?
There's people out
that
like if you boycott, if you're like anti-boycotting, you're boycotting the NFL. You're also like, you're fucking with the people on the field's paycheck in a way. It hasn't got to an extent where like the game's gonna go away, but it's something to think about. Like, if you do this mass exodus where you're basically saying fuck these guys on the field as well.
Is it a bad thing?
Well, see,
I don't. It
just depends, man. You got kids that grew up fucking eating dirt their whole life,
and they got a shot,
and now their life is completely changing now because they have an opportunity. Because number one,
it's like baseball, and any other sport.
The way they grew up, they're probably not that good at school. They're not built to do anything else.
Yeah, athletes in general. Yeah.
Baseball
players are dumb as fuck too.
You're taking shit away from these guys. I don't know. It's fucked up, man. It's a complicated scenario. I mean, all sports in general.
Well, my thing is, and you brought this up to me before, because I've never been a football guy. I just never been, so I can't sit here and pretend to be. But they said they never did this before anyway. So why the fuck is it a thing now? You said you never. You told me that at certain point they never used to come out for the national anthem.
The U.S. the military paid the NFL to start playing the national anthem as an advertisement. It's just like people forget about that part. Just like.
So then,
for example, Daniel, how do you feel about people like pulling down these statues in the South of Confederate generals?
I think that if I personally, you put them in a museum, That's where because you don't remove history. If you
Well,
fucking
Okay. So
no,
then,
you don't remove it. You put it somewhere
So then
else.
let me follow that. Do you still feel that way, knowing that those statues didn't exist until the civil rights movement, and these were racist people that erected the statues?
Okay, well they have to be historical. Well, okay, all right. Well, see.
So that's
They have to be
how I was like, well, historical.
If they're historical, like if they're landmarks, they're actual real, from.
Okay,
the
so none of
1850s.
these statues.
If it's none of them, then no. Then
No,
I don't
see,
care.
and that's the context part that people are missing on the other side of the whole.
Goes back to
kneeling
American
thing.
context.
Yeah.
I assumed that you were talking about historical landmarks.
No,
here.
and I that's what I'm saying. That people
Like, I
aren't
don't
informed.
think-
People that are mad about them kneeling had no idea that they didn't play the fucking national anthem until 10 years ago or less than 10 years ago. I don't know exactly the date. People don't realize that.
I know, but I'm not
they feel
getting
because
mad
like
about
baseball. No, and it's the same thing that people that are getting mad that the statues are getting
Well, I'm
pulled
not getting
down.
mad about that either.
No, I'm making a point here.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying.
I
that-
thought you were saying I got mad.
I mean, this whole podcast is about fucking people getting triggered and like
They're
fucking,
getting triggered over here.
Yeah.
Well, I thought
like these knee jerk reactions. Everything we've talked about has a knee jerk reaction. That's like what the connective tissue to everything we've talked about. Like people see something and they immediately
the headlines.
Yeah, they immediately get upset about shit without doing their own fucking due diligence.
But now that's there, you can't take it away because you're gonna say, well, it's America. You need that. You need the flag on the field. You need the. Whatever.
I mean, part of it is because the NFL became the most popular sport in the states. That's really what I'm sure the military didn't give a shit until they realized that the NFL games are getting more ratings than any other program on there. So we need the national anthem. Whereas baseball is really regional. You don't watch other people's games. You watch the game in your neighborhood. Even the TV rights belong to the local broadcasters. It's different.
Well, what do you think about the statues though? If they're historical or not, regardless.
I think
not that you were bringing it.
Even if the statue's like fucking 300 years old or whenever, how long ago was the Civil War? That's less than 200, 170 years ago.
140.
Yeah,
150.
You know what I mean? Like,
just burn them?
No, like why would you allow the traitors? Number one,
they are traitors.
That's why you put it in a museum.
And losers, people that lost the war. Why would you give them like any sort of monument? You lost.
Well, no, I'm saying, I'm assuming they were already erected, 100 plus years ago. But I mean, it's like I wouldn't want Auschwitz to be fucking burned down.
No, but that's because we need to learn from that. We don't need to honor the generals. We're not honoring. There's no statues in Auschwitz of an SS soldier.
There's no statues
of
in Germany. Period with
Nazis. A Nazi. Yeah, they just pretend.
I know.
Yeah.
I understand.
But
It's
illegal.
Auschwitz itself is you show up and that's for you to see what these
exactly.
people went through.
That's why I'm saying go put it in a museum. Put it in a fucking.
Is a statue of Robert E. Lee reminding you of any? Are you learning anything from it?
If you put it in the right museum, I think you are. I think if you put it in
the
an
right
intolerance museum or something like that, where you're going to learn about racism or that, yeah, this guy is the fucking loser.
It's funny. They just opened the a lynching memorial in Mississippi like a few weeks ago. And people.
Which is what?
Are you gonna Google the lynching? It's funny because some people were just really upset that this exists, but that's to me more in line with Auschwitz. Because
you're looking at
and you're learning from it. They're not honoring it. They're like, this is a piece of American history that we're not talking about, and let's not forget about this. And so those that's like names of people who had been lynched.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah. So it's like that's
way more powerful than a guy on a horse or something. No, and I'm not saying that. Yeah. I'm not defending it. I'm just very, very curious to see.
I mean, it's like you can't feel the gravity of a situation until you see some of this imagery, like legitimate imagery. You know what I mean?
I remember being
like I've seen some of these old pictures of like these racist white dudes with a person hanging from the tree they lynched behind them.
Well, and
it's fucking brutal. Like it's like
there's a book that does a good job of documenting it called Without Sanctuary. It talks about lynchings. It goes really deep into you will see like. People used to cut off limbs, like mayors and governors used to cut off limbs of lynched black bodies and keep them as souvenirs, like the penises.
Savages, savage shit. That's you need to see that on display. I guess that's my thing is like you need to, as long as you're painting them in the right light.
Sure.
Not the honorary Confederate museum that is going to celebrate Confederate history and blah blah blah. But
I just saw a dude on the 101 yesterday with a Confederate flag in the back of his truck. I was so surprised. I was like, it was going to Hollywood. I was like right next to. I said, oh my god! I was triggered. Sitting in my car. I've never seen a Confederate flag. It had a TCU sticker right in front of a Confederate flag. So he's from Texas, you know. But I had never seen it in California.
You know what the funny part about that shit is? That same dude, if you had like another country's flag in your front lawn,
he would tell you to get out of here.
He would have run me off the fucking road. You know, he would have fucking.
I think what you said is the most important thing. They are traitors. They are losers.
They're losers.
Period. That's it. There's no argument for it, no matter what.
How more anti-American can you be than to
100%.
get arms against America?
Literally.
The hypocrisy is amazing.
I think that's what it comes.
It's also the beauty of this country. This is the only place in the world where that could fly, and people would actually be upset about it.
Not only that, you will find a black person doing that exact same thing and being like, yeah, I'm a rebel, I'm a Confederate, you know, but this is America. Like you can find a Filipino saying that too, because anybody can be an American, you know, and that's one thing I would agree with Reagan. I don't agree with him many things, but he understood that because I was in Korea, everybody that I know who lived in Korea or any country, especially Asian countries, for an extended period of time, I never would be Korean. I could have 7 kids, marry a Korean woman, be like work, all. I would never be considered a Korean. But if that same person were to come to the States, live here for 5 or 6 years, you could be considered an American very easily.
But, that's that.
No,
Daniel is the perfect example of someone whose family's been here for 4 or 5 generations, and
3.
Yeah, I was like 4 or 5. Wow.
He's been here 7 generations. His parents, like his ancestors, like fought the Pueblo people in New Mexico. You know, he was a conquistador. You know, because he's brown, because his last name is Trujillo, he's always gonna get that question like, "Where are you from?"
Sure.
And that's and so he will never be at least not now. Maybe in the next 20 years or so. But I mean, we have a president who's anti-Mexican, like, and that's there's no denying that shit.
That's why it's important. That's why it's important that fucking people don't trash on Donald Glover dating white women, because they need to continue to dilute the race in America. So it doesn't matter. We all look the same.
And it's the same thing. If you're Asian here, you'll always get that question. Like, doesn't matter how many, you know.
But again,
if you're not white or black, you're always going to get. You're never going to be considered an American.
Just because you get that question doesn't mean that you're not an American.
But I mean, I feel like there's still people out there that don't look at you that way. They'll
True,
always,
but the people,
you know,
people
and he doesn't speak Spanish.
The people who look at me,
he didn't have a tamale till he was like 17.
It's not fucking true.
There are people that still look at me.
His parents made pot roast for dinner.
That's true.
That's true. I'm not American. There are people who tell me I'm not an American. You know, so it's like I am literally descended. In fact, my father have done like those 23andMe.
Yeah, I'm about to do that.
My mother, she shouldn't have done this to her, but she was like, she was telling me about she was gonna tell me about the results. I don't care, because it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, to me, like you were from Texas. My grandparents are all from Texas.
I thought you were about to say you're like from Belize or some shit.
No.
Belize, you're not even black anymore.
I only know to Texas. I know my father's father was raised by his sharecropping grandparents. His mother was a sharecropper before she came over to California.
Cameron died, Carlos.
So it's like
timer wasn't working.
I'm an American, but there are people who look at me and say I'm not. You know, people look at Kaepernick and say he's not. You know, so but he is. We know he is, and we would accept someone who has been here for a year, who as an American. You know, it all depends.
It depends on what part of the country you're in too.
I agree.
Well, see, I think okay, all right. I'm glad you said that, because I'm going to tie it back to what our original point was, because I 100% agree with you that on a day-to-day basis, if you're on the train with somebody or wherever you're on the bus, you take an Uber and you have to share with somebody, and someone comes in a different skin color, whatever. I'm not going to say 9 times out of 10, but the majority of the cases probably end up in nothing, right? Because it's just another person, you know? Right? Mm-hmm. But obviously, you don't feel the same way. That's how I feel about gay rights issues, or we're not gay, whatever we were talking about earlier. I'm trying. I didn't want to put it in.
Sure.
But that's how I look at it. Okay. You know, where you go to fucking, but because you use a very specific example. Well, if I like someone and I hit on them and then whatever. Absolutely. That's probably real. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend it's not. Okay, you can show me a million lives and I will fucking acknowledge every one of them. But if a gay person comes into an Uber and with me, I don't know they're gay. Okay, and even if they're the most out with it and that, you know, whatever, you know, as long as my whole thing is, if you try to like hit on me and I say, hey, not, you know, no thanks or whatever, and then you progress, then you're entering a different ball game anyway. And I'm not saying you said that, but I'm saying for me, the only way I'm going to feel some sort of anything is if I've been provoked in any way, right?
I think what Daniel is saying is that if you're going to hit on him and you're a man, you better make sure you're fucking packing. Because he ain't fucking around with any of these cocktail weenie motherfuckers out there. All right? And he's not into the like grower shit. He wants a shower. He wants that fucking baby arm on his shoulder. All right?
Well, it's funny too because you hear like men talk about getting hit on by other men, and you know but
I've been hit on by other men in the Castro.
Well, see that's so that's the thing about it is that you know, like men will go out and hit on every woman, you know, and then as soon as one guy maybe considers hitting on them, it becomes a problem. And a lot of it is because they're put in the same position that they put women in, and they don't like it. And part of it is because the way they treat women is so problematic. It's so terrible.
There's also the homophobic aspect.
But part of it's homophobic because they are put in a position that they normally put women in.
But don't you feel
like
it's
all like intertwined?
But don't you feel like we can come to a point in time where you're gonna look at somebody and say and think like you do about people who come to this country and are accepted, where you don't even think twice about it?
I never think twice about it.
So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but it took.
I don't think twice about it, but I feel like me saying I don't think twice about it automatically puts a red flag where it's like, why do you have to say you don't think twice about it? You know, why do you have to say? It's like when I said I have gay friends and I didn't even mean anything by it, but someone could easily say, well, that, you know, what you said, oh, so that means you don't like gay, or you love all, what did you say? You said something like that.
Yeah, but let's also know a lot of people, people just like Gian was saying, a lot of people are really fucking
friend.
Yeah.
uninformed.
Aaron's my friend.
You know,
I'm not racist.
You know, like a lot of people are just uninformed. Like when they talk about Kanye TMZ, I'm like, dude, there are people who have studied this for decades. There are all kinds of books. You're not saying anything new. You're just uninformed.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, in fact, the other day I was at a bar watching Game 3 of the Cavs, and this guy was talking about how he said LeBron is like Iverson. I just like looked at him and I said,
"Fucking idiot."
I even know he's stupid. No.
You know, so I was like, I said, "Oh, I'm not going to engage." I knew that he's just so uninformed.
Instead of saying you're wrong, and I'm gonna.
That's how I feel every time I go to a Dodger game and Dodger fans open their mouths.
Get out of here.
That's exactly.
That's
exactly what happens.
Muting the mic.
Exactly what happens. I went to a Dodger game and had had Daniel and Carlos behind me talking about Barry Bonds.
What did they say? What is that?
They're like, "Oh, what's up, Barry Bonds? Huh? Steroids, huh?" And I was like, "Dude, that shit was like 8 years ago. Why are you bringing that shit up?"
I will say this: at the height of Barry Bonds, like I was in Atlanta right after he broke the all-time record, and I was about to take him away because we were like, "Oh, it's gonna be a fucking show. It's gonna be like," and I've never seen. It was the craziest baseball experience of my life. Because apparently Bobby Cox set the ejection record that game, but we didn't know. Because it happened in between innings when Chipper Jones struck out. He like threw his bat in the air. We saw that. But apparently Bobby Cox came out and started screaming. We missed that part because the fucking people behind us had like a big syringes. Some dudes from like Alabama drove from Alabama to see Barry Bonds. It was like two black dudes. They were just like so pro Barry, you know. And it was such a show. Some people had like a Juice 25. I was like, why do y'all care so much?
I know what you're talking about because one of my best like memories at AT&T was seeing the Giants play the Red Sox. And the Red Sox have diehard. Well, everyone has diehard fans.
The Red Sox, fuck the Red Sox.
And they fucking flew in. This is when Johnny Damon was on the team. They flew in, and they had all that gear, all of that. The bum, they were calling him the bum when you're slitting. I was sitting in the top deck, and they were just shouting it down. I think he hit a home run that game, and I was like, yeah, I got to see I got to see Barry hit a home run in person
against a normal here.
I think he hit it into the cove too, which is even better.
Yeah.
I mean, because Barry's great. I don't care what anyone.
He's the best player I've ever seen.
I'm still.
Mike Trout could possibly pass him, but
he could if as long as he stays healthy.
Yeah,
but so
Barry,
could have A-Rod if he would have stayed healthy.
Yeah.
But I mean, now we're getting to baseball.
Unfortunately, Mike Trout plays in Anaheim, so it's just never.
Well,
he's never gonna get the
attention. No, yeah. It's true, and he's too likable. Like, I think part of what Barry Bonds is that people didn't like him.
He was a dick.
He was a dick. But I didn't care because he fucking was a beast. He was nasty. I would never disrespect Barry Bonds.
Barry,
as a baseball player.
Barry just, Barry had a lot of shit. He didn't like the way his dad was treated, so he had an issue with the media, and he was his dad was he just didn't trust he didn't trust adults. I noticed that because I met him, and with kids. Dude was fucking amazing with kids. He loved seeing kids around, but a grown person came up to him. It was like this weird thing. Like, why do you have admiration for me? Like, a man doesn't fucking admire another man, kind of.
Shit, I've seen you swing. I admire you.
Yeah. And not to mention, he's not the sharpest tool in the shed either. He's a total jock.
Of course he is.
His
whole life
he's a bro. Yeah.
Of course he's a bro. We went to Arizona.
He went to
my cousin. He went right now, and I know all about
He went to Sarah High. He went to a private school in San Mateo.
Shout out to Sarah Hyde, Stephen
Tom
Lee,
Brady.
and Andrew Crichton.
He went there too?
Yeah, he went there. Sarah Hyde, dude, you talk about it. That's I said. You said you two of the biggest douches, Tom Brady and Barry Bonds.
Tom Brady. But anyways, guys, I gotta get going. Let's wrap this up. We had a whole laundry list of shit that we didn't even touch, but I don't know. It was fun. It was good. Thanks for coming on the show, Aaron.
Hey, thanks for inviting me.
Before you turn off, is there anything trending on Facebook that might have broken? Because this is America 2018. Nope, nothing's trending. Okay, never mind. Forget it. I was just saying, because you never know. Fucking things just break.
No,
no,
it's a bunch of bullshit.
Everything that I already had posted.
I give a flying fuck about Prince Harry.
I don't care about any of that royal wedding. I didn't watch any of that shit. I wasn't even one of those people who posted saying, "Oh, actually, I did." Never mind. I was gonna say I didn't say I don't care about it.
Yeah, you did on Twitter.
I did definitely do it, but I did do it the day before though. I did it the day or two before, so it wasn't on the day of the event.
People were just surprised how many black people were actually in the wedding. That's what I was surprised about. I was like, oh. Because someone made a good point yesterday to me was that she could have easily done an American culture, but she was like, "No, I'm gonna do Black American culture." Just.
Oh, I didn't even know.
I didn't even know she was black till a week ago.
I just like this meme that's been going around where it was saying phase 2 of destroying England has commenced. Yeah. Well, 170 years later.
There's also the meme of the Queen looking at her saying,
all mad, she giving that angry look.
And it says, when you want to use a car crash again, but you've done it once.
You already used it.
I said, oh man, Twitter is the best.
It is.
It's so real time. That's what I love about it. But yeah, thanks for having me, you guys. Anytime.
And that's going to do it for us, guys. The drill. Smash that like button. If you're listening on iTunes, make sure to leave a 5-star review. If you're listening on SoundCloud, you can't do shit. But make sure to follow us on Twitter. All the links will be in the description. And if you're watching, thanks for watching. And we will see you next time.